Hello everybody, my name is Jenna and today I'm doing my January wrap-up and February TBR for 2019. In January I managed to read 4 books, which is more than I actually kind of expected to read, which is awesome. 2 of which were for the Biannual Bibliothon and 1 was the YO Circle Book of the Month, which I actually read in a day, which is awesome. And my February TBR obviously is going to be like my January TBR in that I've just got a bunch of books that I get to choose from, but some of them are going to be a little bit difficult to read and I'll explain why when I get there. But first up, I wanted to tell you guys what I read in January. So the first book that I read in January was Virginia Woolf's A Room of One's Own, which I gave 3 out of 5 stars, and the second book I read was A Wind in the Door by Madeline Lee Engel, which I also gave 3 out of 5 stars. Both of these books I read for the Winter 2019 Biannual Bibliothon, and I did a full wrap-up on this one, which I will leave linked in the description box below if you wanted to check out either of these books. The third book that I read this month, well, technically I guess I finished it this month because I'm pretty sure I started it in December. That was C5 by Natalie C. Parker, and I gave this one a 4 out of 5 stars. I truly believe that any book that has to do with like badass female pirates should look like this one, because this book was fantastic. The plot kept me guessing right into the very last page because there were multiple moments where I was like, this is gonna happen, and then it didn't, and I really sucked actually at guessing this book. All the way down to the very last page, like something happened that just blew my mind and I went, I need the sequel like right now. So overall, I thought this one was really great. It had some really fun characters. It had a plot that was relatively simple, but it was definitely a character-driven story, and the characters themselves were all really independent, and they all knew what they wanted, and they all didn't really know how they were gonna get there, and that was something that I thought was really great. And so you really got to spend time with these characters and you got to see them progress from where they were to where they ended up, and so you kind of have an idea going forward of what's gonna happen. I don't super know what's gonna happen going forward, but like I'm pretty excited to find out. So the last book I read in January was actually a book that I managed to read in a single day, and that was The Disasters by M.K. England, which I gave 4 out of 5 stars. This was the YO Circle Book Club's Book of the Month, and it followed a group of outcasts after they've been kicked out of this space academy, and the academy is then attacked by these terrorists and they become scapegoats for this attack. This story was fantastic. It had such this dysfunctional group of people were at its core, and they were dysfunctional to the point that I am honestly surprised they managed to get anything done. They had a fantastic chemistry together though, and it really made the book full of fun banter, and just it was really witty, and I really thoroughly did enjoy reading it. I love the fact that at the moment it is currently a standalone. I would really like it to stay as a standalone. I don't think there are enough standalone books out there, and this one in particular was really well done. The book had fantastic representation as well, so we got to see a lot of different sexual orientations and genders represented in this novel, but they were presented in such a way that it was completely normalized and everyone just kind of went with it. Same with religion. There were a lot of different religions in this book and it just was completely normalized. Everyone just accepted it. The mental health representation in the book was fantastic as well. We had 2 characters who were suffering from the same mental illness, however their reactions to it were different, which is really, I don't know what the word is that I'm looking for, which is really reflective of real life, how 2 people may have the same illness but it may not affect them in the same way. So altogether this book was fantastic and I absolutely loved it. So there you go, those are all of the books that I read in January, and now I'm going to move on to my February TBR. I'm actually going to do my TBR jar challenge first because, as you can tell, kind of failed with my TBR jar challenge for January. Whoops. February's is gonna be this one. Read a 2016 new release. Fun! So as you guys would know, if you watched my January TBR, you know that I'm doing my TBRs a little differently this time around. So every month I have kind of a section from this big list, and it revolves around like when the books came out. So for this month the theme is books that came out before 2000 but after the year 1980. There are 8 books in this list, some of which I cannot read until I read previous books from January, so it's just a whole thing. None of which are 2016 new releases, so I guess I'll have to pick a 2016 new release at some point to read. So let's just get into the books that I have to pick from for February. The first book on this list is The Clan of the Cave Bear by Jean M. Ale. This book is literally a prehistoric fiction that focuses around a girl. I don't even remember what her name is. She's blue-eyed, blonde-haired, and she is a Homo sapien, whereas the people that we follow in this book, I believe, are Homo Neanderthals. So, you know, that's a thing. thing, I actually did start reading this for class. I think I got like 100 and something pages into it. Funny thing is, I was kind of enjoying it. The problem is that it's a mass market paperback. It's 532 pages long and the text is tiny as heck. So, you know, fun. Next up on this list, we have 2 books that I actually can't read until I read a book from January, so that's also fun. That is Many Waters and An Acceptable Time, both by Madeleine L'Engle. This is books 4 and 5 in the Wrinkle in Time quintet. I never ended up reading A Swiftly Tilting Planet, which was book 3 in the quintet, so clearly I can't read these until I, you know, read that. These books, I believe one of them focuses, this one I think focuses on the twins, Sandy and Dennis, and that's really different for me. You know, we haven't spent any time with the twins pretty much at all. And then this one deals with, just like, bear with me here, with Meg and Calvin's teenage daughter. I don't know how to feel about that. I don't know how to feel about the fact that like we've jumped so much in age. I honestly don't know how to feel. It weirds me out a little bit. But I would really like to read these ones because once I read them both, then I finish the Wrinkle in Time quintet, and that's something that I would love to be able to say because one of my goals for this year is to try to finish more series. So, you know, this would be an easy way to do it. I just have to read A Swiftly Tilting Planet first. Next up, we have yet another uni book that I never bothered to read, and that is Grass by Sherry S. Tepper. Funny thing is, I actually did start this one. I got, I don't know, a little bit into it and I was actually enjoying it. It's a science fiction novel that is set on a different world, and if I remember correctly, there's some sort of contagion going on. Yes, yeah, so there is this plague going on that is settling around the galaxy, but it's never come to this particular planet and people are trying to figure out why. So I remember liking it. I remember there being a horse, a weird horse. That's literally all I remember, and I would kind of like to keep going with it, but look at that font. It's so dark. I can't get behind it. But I did really enjoy the little bit of it that I read. I just kind of got, I don't think I got bored. I can't entirely remember why I stopped reading it, but I do remember there was a reason. Probably because, knowing me, I would have been reading like 5 different novels for uni, so that would explain it. Next up, we have a book that every Australian teenager ever has pretty much read, especially when I was growing up, but I never bothered to read it, and that was Tomorrow When the War Began by John Marsden. This book was literally everywhere in primary school and everyone read it apart from me, so I feel like I should finally read it at some point. So this book follows a girl named Ellie who, she and her friends, they go camping one weekend, and when they come back it's to find that the entire country has been invaded and now they have to fight to save their home. That's pretty much the general gist of it, I think. There's been like a movie adaptation, like as you can see, movie adaptation. There's been a television show adaptation. There's like 7 books. I just never got on this bandwagon and I really don't know why. Even some of my reader friends got on this bandwagon and I never did. So I feel like eventually I should read this one. I don't know, maybe, we'll see. And next up we have yet another uni book that I never read, and that was Dead Man's Walk by Larry McMurtry. This is a Western novel. Probably won't read it. If I'm being perfectly honest, I don't think I'm gonna be reading this one. Like, I really want to, like I said in my January TBR, I really do want to at least give all my uni books one more try, and then if I just can't get into them, I will be unhauling them. But this one in particular, I'm just like, I just don't know. It's actually a prequel to another book that you're meant to have already read, so, you know, that's even more fun. I just don't know. And then the last 2 books on this TBR will take me a month to get through just reading one of them, and that is Game of Thrones and A Clash of Kings, both by George R.R. Martin. These are books 1 and 2 in A Song of Ice and Fire. They're really fat books, so if I do choose to read Game of Thrones, this will be the only book that I read all month. I'm telling you that right now. I really do want to read it though, because like I love the TV show and I know the books are different. So I do want to read it, but like also it's such a fat book, so I just don't know how to feel. And then Clash of Kings, I can't read unless I read this one. I don't know. I doubt I'm gonna get through them, but I really, really want to. I am gonna challenge myself though. I want to try and read as many books as possible this month. Well, I mean, everyone does that every month on BookTube, but I don't know. I feel like I could have read more than just 4 books in January, so I feel like I kind of dropped the ball a little bit. And I don't have uni in February. I'm not working heaps, so I do want to challenge myself to try and read more books. And there we go. Those are all the books I read in January and all the books I'm planning on reading in February. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know in the comment section below if you have read any of these books and what you thought, because I would absolutely love to know. If you like this video, be sure to give it a huge thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to my channel so you don't miss a thing. Stay random. Bye.